This is the Online Hackscan dashboard walkthrough. When you made your order, whether it's a free or a paid one, you get your username and password by email, and you can log into the environment. If you bought the data right off the web, you have at least one scan included here. And when you click on it, you'll be presented with a list of your recent scans, if you have scans done. And on the right side, you have your configuration manager. When you want to add an IP address or a website in here, you just type the website and the IP address that you want to have and click on the add button. It will be added to your assets right on the right side, and those assets will be used for your penetration tests and vulnerability scans. It's that easy. If you know your website, and it can be anything, HTTP, HTTPS, different ports, specific pages like we have here. If you have different introduction pages, just write them right there. The IP address, it's the same thing. It's a matter of having your IP address. And when I select mine right here, if you delete it, it's the best example. You can just type the IP address right there. And if you have the ability to do multiple IP address, you can have multiple IP address in your asset list, all the way up to the number of IPs which is allowed by your scan. And in this case, I have 4. So when you add a new one, you'll have the error message that you have exceeded the limits by trying to add that asset. You have different packages, and by that, you have the ability to scan as many as you need. When we go in and we look at the vulnerability scan server, which is our infrastructure scan, you'll be presented with the overview of the latest scan, the last scan that we have conducted for you. You'll see in this case, one device has been assessed. They all have issues with 59 issues in total, 2 critical, 13 highs, 19 mediums, and 2 lows. We have a nice summary for you explaining what it is that we have done. How many issues we have found, how many per IP address, how many highs, criticals, and a recommendation on what it is that we think you should be doing to fix this on a strategic governance level. So this is for non-techies. The summary page is for non-technical people. You have a nice overview of issues per category, what groups we have created, a list of issues per IP, and the number of IPs that we've scanned. So every asset inside the environment, and it's based on the assets that you've configured, what was included in the scan and where we have found some issues for, including the assessed ports for that specific test. That's the summary. When you go into technical details, you have the ability to search through your specific issues. So if you want to have high issues, you just type high. If you want to have high and low issues, you just type high and then the or sign, which is our 2 stand-up columns, and you'll see that you have the other items in there as well. So when we want to search for our high issues and you want to go into depth, you just click on one of the samples. You go in there, you see that we have the scanme.nmap.org host, which is the IP address we added there as our sample. You'll see that this issue occurred on port 22. And during our scans, we've done one scan with this specific issue. Over time, when you do multiple scans, you'll see if this issue reoccurs in your scans. And that's a very good sign, very good indication on how you're performing on patch management and vulnerability management. If there are other hosts inside your scan that have the same type of problem, you'll see that listed right here. It's clickable, so you can click through and see the results for that specific host right away. And we'll have details on what it is that we found, the summary, some insights, more information. We'll have more technical details on it, and we have a list of references where this specific issue references to. So this is an issue which has a CVE 2016-3115. We have a URL which links to this specific problem. And that's sort of the depth and details we have for the vulnerability scan. So we understand that you like to have PDF reports for that. So we have the capability to create a PDF report with your own dedicated logo. If you have a logo somewhere on the internet, have the URL there. And you can select what it is you want to include. If you want to have the summary, which is this page, if you just want to have the summary, hit that, hit print, your report is being generated, and once it's done, it'll pop up straight away. If report is finished, you see it popping up. And once you click on it, you see that you have a really nice look and feel page with the logo on top. By default, it's our logo. And on the second page, you have a pretty nice and very clean overview of the vulnerability scan. That's the out-of-the-box scan. If you want to include the technical details, which is the table that you see listed here, just select the technical details. If you have made filters here, so in this case only the highs are shown, you can select that to show all data, or leave it disabled if you want to have the individual or the search through. And if you want to have the individual details, so that's this information, if you want to have that in your report, make sure that you click and select the add issue details. And now when you hit print, you'll see that the report will be generated. In the meantime, you just can continue searching, continuing to use the site, to use the environment, to go in, because generating a report typically can take a little bit of time. So you can go through and work through all of the data, continue your work. And once it's ready, it'll download right on the side. And if you want to have a nice CSV overview file for other techies to work with, or to patch that into your change management system or something, you can have your searches here. So search for high issues only. Use the CSV export, include filters, hit this export a CSV file, and it'll get opened in Excel by default, having your list there. And then it's as easy as filtering through them, having a delimiter. In this case, it's a space, filtering it through, not tabbing, having a comma, sorry, not a space, having a comma as the separator, and you'll have a very nice CSV-based overview on all of the issues that you have selected. So that's it for the vulnerability scan service. The next video will be on the web application scan.